Hi guys, welcome back to Leah, the mom in boots. So for this video guys, I'm going to be talking about the military entrance test, right? The different versions, the ASVAB versus the PiCAT. Like, which one you think is best for you? Stay tuned to Leah, mom in boots. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. All right, so let's start with the ASVAB, right? The ASVAB has two versions, right? The paper version, pen and paper. I think most that version is mostly done in high school. I think they like go to the school and try to get persons to do the test, you know. And you have the CAT version, which is the computer adaptive test. That's the one that I did, right? So that's the one in which you go to the MEPS. A recruiter will set up everything for you, the date that you need to go there. When you get there, they'll take your ID and your social from you, check the list to see if you're on it, and then they will assign you to a computer. It's an invigilated exam, so you're doing it in person, right? When you get to your computer, the only thing that will be on your decks is papers and pen, right? No calculators are allowed or anything, so you have to do all your rough working on that piece of paper that they give to you, right? All right, so yeah. So there are 10 subject areas that you're going to be tested on. So the general areas are like the general science, the math knowledge, the word knowledge, the arithmetic reasoning, and general science, right? So you actually want to pass those areas. I think, don't quote me, I think the minimum you can get is 30, right? And you will be good, average. Right, but then there are some other areas that you're tested in, like electronics, auto, mechanical, assembling object. I think it also helps the military as it relates to job placements, because if you already have knowledge about mechanical, about vehicles, right, it will be better suited if you're placed in a mechanical job, right? And I guess one of the good things in being in those areas, say you do it like HVAC or some firm or aviation or electronics or mechanical work, with all those certificates and qualifications that the military give you, it's great when you're ready to transition back into the civilian world. For me, I think that's a plus, right? Because if you're not planning on doing your 20 years or more in the military, you can complete your contract and go back into the civilian world, having those qualifications, making you more eligible to get the certain positions that you want. So for me, I think that's a plus in what the military is kind of trying to do there, right? So I think you have like 135 questions with about 55 minutes to complete it. So you have to work within the time frame that is given you. Don't spend too long on one question, right? I'm trying to remember if don't quote me, I think you were not able to go back to the question. So you have to do it and move on, right? But the computer, you and the next person beside you are not doing the same test, meaning that there are different questions, right? There are different versions to I think the computer adapt to you based on how well you're answering the questions. It might put difficult one, and if you're struggling, it might put easier one. So I can't say what I do is what the same thing you do. My questions might be completely different from the questions that you got. But yeah, that's the CAT ASVAB, my experience, and even talking to other persons that did it, because when I was telling them the questions that I saw and then they were telling me the question that they saw, I'm like, I wish I got those questions, it was completely different. Now once you're finished and you go back around to the room to speak to the Air Force or the whichever branch representative that are there, they're already able to pull up your thing and already see how you score and let you know that, okay, you passed or you're good, or like, well, you scored a little lower here. Do you want to try it again, or do you want to work with these score? You might be qualified for less jobs though. So yeah, that's some conversations that will be have after your test. Yeah, now for me, some tips on what I did to prepare for my ASVAB was I downloaded ASVAB apps. They're actually ASVAB apps on Play Store or Google Store that you can use. You can have access to the free version, and I think if you pay more, you can get access to the paid version that has even more questions, right? I also watch a lot of YouTube videos in practicing these questions, etc. As I said, a lot of these practice that I did, however, the version of test that I got was not really so similar to all the practices that I was doing, but I was still able to apply the concept to the questions, which kind of helped me out a bit. Now let's move over to the PiCAT. I did not do the PiCAT. I didn't even know about the PiCAT. until I met a friend in the DEP, right, the delayed entry program, and she told me that she did the PiCAT. So I'm like, she said she scored a 99. I was like, girl, what did you say, right? And she told me that, yeah, the PiCAT, there are some advantages and disadvantages. So it's best to speak with your recruiter about both versions. All right, now let's talk about the PiCAT, right? The PiCAT is the Pending Internet Computerized Adaptive Test. I did not know about this, right? As I said, speak to your recruiter. I'm not a recruiter, guys, so don't quote me. I'm just telling you what I understand, what I know, and what I've experienced, and even these are experiences from real life people. Right now, when she told me about this PiCAT, I was like, the PiCAT. So what I researched, I realized that the PiCAT the PiCAT score can be used for your ASVAB, in which when you speak to your recruiter, they will set up for you to do the PiCAT, right? It will give you an access code for you to access the test, right? Now you have 48 hours to do this test from the time you start. So if you start it now, you have 48 hours from now for complete it. Imagine that. Now you can actually sit down, look on the question, research the question, practice the question, and do it properly and get the answer correct. The only thing is your score, you do not see your score. Only your recruiter does. So within that 48 hours, almost basically 2 days for complete a 145 question test. Now here's a trick part now. After you complete the test, you have to schedule a verification test with your recruiter. Remember, I know this PiCAT, you can do it at your home, or you can do it with a recruiter at the recruiter's office. But if I was doing it, I would do it from my home, right? The verification test now is a shorter version. It's about like 20 to 30 minutes. You schedule it with your recruiter, and then you can go into MEPS, or it can be done from your recruiter's office, and you just go in and do the test. Now, the reason why they do a verification test now is because, one, no one knows if it was your sister or your cousin who did the test for you. So it's just to verify that you understand the test and you actually did it. No, what my friend told me was that she did the test, like, for example, she finished the test tonight and she's scheduled to go in to do the test tomorrow. When she went in to do the test, right, the questions were practically the same. And she said she remembered the answers and how she worked the questions. And she was able to score a 99. And her PiCAT score was then used for her ASVAB. So you imagine scoring over an 80 for your ASVAB. You can get like any job you want as long as they're available. And yeah, so it just comes down, guys, to which one you think you want chance. I think there might be some pros and cons to the test, as how many times you can do it, etc. So speak to your recruiter, right? Don't take my word. Speak to your recruiter about it. You'll never know. Yeah, Leah, the mom in boots.